Hong Kong is a multicultural city. Every year, it welcomes immigrants from all over the world. Among them, there is a special group of people who are called foreign domestic helper. Majority of them came from the Philippines and Indonesia. Before they came to Hong Kong is a dramatic place that they are longing for, where they can earn a lot of money and experience a great life. But is that a reality for them? So let's hear about Bella's story, who is a foreign domestic helper from Philippines.
Hello everybody, I am Bella. Let me share my story with you. My family is poor and live in the remote countries in Philippines. One day, when I was walking on the street, a piece of attractive advertisement caught my eyes, which reads about the recruitment of domestic helper to Hong Kong. I was totally fascinated by the handsome salary, at least the minimum wages in Hong Kong, and fancy advertisement about a life there where I would enjoy weekly holiday. Without hesitation, I applied for the job delightfully. I was so surprised that I passed the recruitment process and invited to sign the employment contracts and other documents. But I feel a little bit strange that the recruitment agency did not allow me to read about the detailed content on the contracts and simply asked me to sign on them. But finally, I compromised because the working life in Hong Kong stated on the advertisement is so attractive. Soon, I was required to attend some kinds of training program. In fact, I was confined at the recruitment center and made to work as training. Actually, I could not say I have learned anything useful from my future job. But just shortly before the departure, I was informed that the recruitment agency fee must be paid by salary deduction, where some kind of loan involved. I did not quite understand about it, but just could not wait to go to Hong Kong to work. Days later, I went to Hong Kong and finally got onto such my dreamland. As soon as I got to Hong Kong, I was brought to the Hong Kong placement agency, where my passport and contracts are confiscated. And then I was brought to a Hong Kong finance company, where I was required to sign a loan documents and not given a copy.
Although the Hong Kong government does not allow the placement agency to collect excessive agency fee, we can force the domestic helper to get a loan and pay back the interest. Then we can share the interest among Hong Kong Placement Agency, the Philippine Recruitment Agency, and the third-party finance company. If the Hong Kong government investigates us, I can simply claim that I just recommend a finance company for domestic helper to get a loan. I am actually helping them. Haha, how clever I am!
Then I met my employer with agency's introduction. But similarly, my employer was not that friendly. The Hong Kong Placement Agency gave two choices for me to pay the loan that I was forced to. The first choice is that the employer transfer most of my monthly salary to the loan company as loan payment and I get a full residual. Or I would get fully paid but I need to transfer most of my monthly salary to the loan company while 7-Eleven to an account whose owner is unclear. Then my working life began, but I had to say I was so upset about that. Initially, I thought I could have normal working hours, but my average daily working time was 17 hours a day. During the weekends, I thought I could take a rest, but I was forced to work as well. Besides, I was so sad and angry that my employer verbally and even physically abused me from time to time. I was so desperate about my miserable life. I was treated badly and underpaid. My expectation about comfortable life and mailing money back to my family totally burst out. Finally, I was so frustrated and decided to sue the placement agency. However, the most desperate thing is that the employer fired me, and because of the 2 weeks rule, I could not get enough time to get the new jobs and I was sent back to Philippines.
After hearing Bella's story, you may ask, so how does this issue relate to me? What is the impact of the problem? Let's summarize the effect to different parties. Firstly, for the employee, the human rights is not guaranteed because of the excessive working hours and various abuse. Also, they suffer financial loss due to the underpayment. For the Philippine government, they are also worried about the human rights issue, and they bear the economic loss of remittance income. For the employer, which is the most related part to us, the low payment to employee lead to a bad service quality to employer. Also, because of the poor treatment, less high-quality domestic worker will be willing to come to Hong Kong. For the Hong Kong society, it will be under reputation risks resulting from the violation of human rights, and potential social problem caused by the escaped domestic helper may happen. So, from Bella's story and its analysis, we can see that it is a problem indeed. And actually, there are tens of thousands of similar cases happen every year in Hong Kong. So, are you willing to help them? We have some solutions. First, to establish a social enterprise. Second, found a newspaper. Third, change the current regulations. Firstly is the social enterprise. It will provide fair agent service for the foreign domestic helpers. Of course, it will operate as a benchmark in this industry. Our social enterprise consists of 4 departments: the recruitment department, placement department, evaluation department, and consultant department. Hi, we are recruitment department. First, we will provide excellent training program. Now, we will conduct a mock housework training. First, we will have training on basic housework skills. Then, we will have training on some basic tools. Afterwards, we will give some presentation on how to use sophisticated machines. Second, we will help domestic helper process the working visa. We will only charge the visa expense and fair service fee, and the expense receipt will be shown to them. Third, we will give the copy of the signed document to the domestic workers. Fourth, we will charge fair agency fees from domestic workers and employers. Philippine branch doesn't charge agency fees from the domestic workers because of the prohibition of the laws there. So, it will charge all the commission fees from the employers in Hong Kong. Indonesia branch will charge fair agency fees from the domestic helpers and employers in Hong Kong. Now, we fly to Hong Kong. Yoo-hoo! Hello guys, we are placement department in Hong Kong. We aim at making perfect match between employers and employees. Hi Bella, this is your employer, Mrs. Smith. And Mrs. Smith, this is Bella.
Oh, hi Bella.
Hi, Mrs. Smith. Bella, I'm your agent. First of all, we will charge you an amount for agency fee, but the amount will not exceed 10% of your first month wages after the successful placement in Hong Kong. Oh yeah, you are advised to open a bank account, but don't worry, we won't keep the sensitive information. Of course, we will make sure that your employer pays the travel expenses between your home country and Hong Kong. Lastly, you won't be forced to sign a loan agreement with a third-party finance company. Hello, Mrs. Smith. Our agency price is slightly lower than other agencies, but we will charge some deposit, which may be returned to you quarterly given you behave well to your employee. However, if you don't behave well to your employee and perform bad in the evaluation, part of the deposit will not be returned to you. As a result, you may end up with an agency fee that is slightly higher than the ordinary practice. You are advised to pay salary by e-transferring or other methods, which could provide documentary evidence of paying to your employee. As a responsible agency, we will provide super match service for you, assigning you with domestic workers based on your requirements. Hello, we are evaluation department. We will develop a new evaluating system, which requires the employer and domestic workers to evaluate each other through questionnaires. Your questionnaires will be like this, or like this. If employee files a complaint towards the employer, and the complaints are verified, the refund of deposit in that quarter will be deducted. If abuse is reported, the contract will be terminated at once, and we will help the domestic workers to seek legal protection. Employers with bad reputation will not be able to hire domestic helpers here. But we may ask, where does the money come from for our enterprise? Our initial capital will mainly come from government, NGOs, and public donations. We will coordinate with big brands to pursue the win-win. Of course, we also have profit from our business. We suggest the relative NGOs found in newspaper in both printed and online version. It will serve as a platform for information exchange. Oh, Bella, you're pretty good. I have a great pleasure to have you work for us.
Mrs. Smith, now I enjoy my work and life in Hong Kong too.